is, running independent and doesn't have any money compared to RFK Jr.?
Well, I don't know about.
You chime in first, then I'll chime in.
Yeah, I was going to
say. Ladies first. No, Vass. Ladies first. Go.
No problem.
Okay, so as you guys know, well, I don't know if you know, but I'm a registered Republican. But I will say I think people are sick of the BS on both sides. It's become really polarized these days. And people are disgusting. They send, let's say that you are a Democrat. Republicans will send threats or call them out their name if they're a Democrat. Same thing with Democrats. If they face a Republican and they don't agree with them, they will do the same thing. And so I think that is very polarized these days. And I think that's why people are switching to the Independent Party or the Green Party. And also, I think that a lot of them don't feel that politicians in either parties are doing what needs to be done for them. So that's what I feel so far. And I think that's a lot of my counterparts feel as well.
So, Mike, we got one of your people on the board. We got a Republican here. So, come on, tell them. You going to agree with her or not?
It's so wonderful to have another Black Republican on with me. Almost never happens. It's like once a year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
They always like to try and make us seem like we're the only ones. It's not true.
It's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. But I've actually thought about being independent. But at the same time, I thought about it. But at the same time, I'm not going to let Republicans who disagree with me scare me from the party. I think that Black people are needed on both sides. That's what I keep saying. And they're needed on both sides, and they're needed in the Independent Party and the Green Party. We're needed everywhere. So that's what I'm here for.
No, I like it.
I get it,
because the Republican Party is.
Exactly. We're not a monolith. There's a lot of different voices in the Black community, Hispanic community, Asian women, name the group. But somehow the left-leaning media trying to make it seem like, hey, there's only one voice. We heard it from Biden himself. Oh, you're not Black if you don't vote for Biden or Democrat, which is insane.
Yeah, but Maj Touré, prominent Black libertarian out of Philadelphia, just posted about Rob Smith, right? Rob Smith, who was a gay, who still is gay and Black, but was a Republican, right? Gay Black Republican that has now left. And now he's independent. To your point, Charisse, he thought about leaving and he did leave. He took off and went independent. So I think this is exactly my point. We are watching people in the left and right, Democrats, Republicans, and you all know, it used to be, if you're Black, you're Democrat. That's it. There was that's all you are. That's not true at all anymore. In fact, more and more Black Americans are going towards Republican, and now Rob is even leaving and going independent.
Well, I would say, before you continue, Michael, I'm sorry. I would say, I understand why he did it, but at the same time, I don't think we should let these lily white Republicans scare us out of the party either. I face dealing with lily white Republicans. I face being called the N-word because I said, and in my opinion, it's different from a lot of Black Republicans, that I stand for reparations for Black Americans. And I literally had this page, I think with 100,000, 200,000 followers, making a whole video on my tweets when I was talking about reparations and basically saying that Black people want to take over the Republican Party, and the only reason Black people are voting for Trump is because he gives them things. But I'm not going to let anyone scare me out of
I have heard that
party.
Too.
I don't care what you call me. I've been called the N-word plenty of times. I'm not about to let anybody scare me. But I wish them the best.
Well, I think there's a couple things in this because, one, yes, there are some people who, my experience has been that many of the Republicans who have a problem with Black Republicans tend to be, they don't trust. They think that you're infiltrating to help the Democratic Party because there's this mantra, this message from all the media saying, well, you're Black, so you're Democrat.
That's
and they're
correct,
those are usually low information people. But looking at the independent thing and why we're saying it, it's because social media is losing the establishment. And that's really why we're seeing people leave the Democratic Party, leave the Republican Party, because establishment Democrats, establishment Republicans have failed. They have failed at everything that they have been trying to do. Look at, we're at what, $34.5 trillion. We're going to hit 35. We knew that last year when they made the deal that said, okay, we're going to go. And that's 7% inflation. Poor people get more poor. So we knew the establishment screwed us up. Now we see people going because.
All right, hold on, Mike. I got to give Craig a couple seconds to say something. I got to get him to say something. I mean, and look, let me go to the man who I know is the absolute expert in Black Republicans, the man who knows every single thing about the Black Republicans in the world right now. The man himself, Craig Miles. Tell us about Black Republicans, Craig. Come on.
I'm glad that you called out the black elephant in the room because. I'm not going to hop in on this, right? Like, but thank you for inviting me. No, I agree. No, I was going to hop in, but I didn't want to cut anyone off because, yeah, I'm not black. I'm not a Republican. So who the hell am I to say anything about that? Now, what I will say though, is this all stems from collectivism, right?
Okay.
You're talking about unique black voices, unique whatever voices. Like you said, it's not a monolith. It's 100% all of that. The fact that a Republican would think that a black person coming to their party is trying to come there to spy on them as a Democrat is absolutely ridiculous. And they
say that, like what Mike said is true. They do say that.
Yeah,
100%.
I've never heard that before, and it blows my mind. And this is the problem with the collectivism, with the with this, with that, things get done in your name that have absolutely nothing to do with you. And you have to you spend half your time defending yourself against all these other things that you supposedly are when it's got nothing to do with you.
Well, that's one of the reasons why you see so many black conservatives, which is probably the better category because we are in the Republican Party, we're in the Conservative Party, we're in the Libertarian Party, we're independent altogether. That's probably the better moniker. But I was just going somewhere with that. Sorry, hang on.
Let me pop up something I want to bring up real fast. Joel says bait and switch. Yes, I did bait and switch you, but it wasn't my fault. Colette was supposed to be here today. She was. And she just said she couldn't make it. So when she couldn't make it, I called our returning champion, Mike, to come on, and he did. So thank you, Mike, for that. I appreciate that. Yes, so I wanted to have someone. It is a bait and switch, but a cool bait and switch. Come on. It is Michael Vass. We got a cool bait and switch. But yes,
it was involuntary bait and switch.
Correct. Yes, it was. Absolutely.
That's okay.
So, yeah. So hold on. Not that teasing you, Craig. He's asking, is that a VCR behind you?
He's the second person to ask. I don't know what year it's from.
How old are you? Just kidding.
This is a VCR, and this is a CRT. And I am old enough to have grown up watching both of these. That's all I'll say.
I watch a VCR too. I'm
yeah.
Like 55, so
yeah,
absolutely. I still remember when the remote had a line to it, had a connection to it. I still remember that back in the day.
I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
I remember those days. Yes.
What?
I remember those days. Yes.
I'm Gen Z, so I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything about that.
No. I'm too old for that. But yes. Anyway. So let me then move if I could. Let me move away from that part we talked about. Now let's talk about people who are just, they're moving. People who are moving away from the Democratic Party, who are moving into the Republican Party. Right? Not moving out of the Republican Party, into it. And I think you're finding what's happening is men across the country are moving right. They're moving some of them moving towards libertarianism, if you see them being more entrepreneurial, some are going that route. But many of them are going the Republican route, not libertarian route. Some are going libertarian, but by percentage, far more of men are moving towards the Republican Party, and women are starting to move towards Democratic Party. You're seeing them move towards that. Some towards the green too. You are finding some, but you're finding a gender shift in the last, say, 5 years or so. And by the way, this shift is across the world, and it's most prominent for some reason, I don't know why, in Korea, South Korea. It is most prominent in South Korea, but it is the entire world. And in our country, we're seeing it in registrations in Democratic and Republican registrations. Male is up in the Republican Party, female is up in the Democratic Party by percentage.
Well, this kind of goes back to what we were saying before about in terms of social media, in terms of the media targeting. This is the consequence of not only DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Equity is evil because equity is the constant, eternal division of human beings into categories, and those categories being divided into subcategories and subcategories ranked arbitrarily by some unknown group to pit them against each other. And the more and more you see that, the more division we have across our country, which is why we're not unified as a nation, which is really scary for the world, because when America's unified, positive changes happen in the world. So you have that component. You have the component in our colleges and our high schools where kids are being programmed by rote memorization on these ideologies, again, applications of CRT and feminine, the feminist.
Yeah, but Mike, this is also older women too. You're missing the most important part here, which is Roe v. Wade. That is a huge chunk of this.
That's the scare tactic.
You mean? Wait, hang on. Whoa, let me hop in here.
Go ahead, Greg.
Do you mean to tell me, Mike? Do you mean to tell me you know this stuff? You know that you have a left and right divide, and you know that the ploy from the Republicans for years has been that we gonna take. Well, see, they don't say we're gonna take away your right to abortion, right? They don't say that. They do say all these things that make very people nervous about their abilities to choose what they think is an important part to be able to have healthcare and whatnot. And then on the others, that's what the Democrats say, the left, right, say that it's my body, my choice. A woman has the right to healthcare, all of these things. The Republicans say, sorry, a kid is this. They draw the line wherever they draw the line. You're not allowed to have it. They don't want to have a conversation.
Okay.
We go like this further and further apart. And there's this perception. I'm talking all in perceptions here.
No, I'm with you now.
The Democrats say we will protect your right to abortion. These evil Republicans just want you to have a miscarriage and die. They don't care about you. And you're telling me that with that messaging, that's not going to draw women to the Democratic Party?
Well, let's clarify. That's not the messaging. And you know what?
Let's have the ladies speak.
Right ahead.
Go ahead, Charisse. Go ahead.
Okay. When it comes to Roe v. Wade, and also, I'm not even going to talk about Roe v. Wade. I'm going to talk about the reason why I believe that men are leaving the Democrat Party. And I honestly think that's because women and LGBTQ are being prioritized over men these days.
Ooh, okay.
And I saw that especially when it came to the Black Lives Matter movement, the Black Lives Matter organization, I would say, because I support the movement, but I don't support the organization. On their website, they had a mission statement, and it included LGBTQ, and it included women, but it didn't include Black men. And I think that's across the board all around, not just dealing with the Black Lives Matter organization, but across the board. I don't think people are really I don't think parties and people in general are really thinking that men are, and I'm gonna say this also before I get into that. I don't think men have been prioritized at all when it comes to being put first, because women, children have always been put first. Not to say that that's wrong, but I'm just seeing these days that LGBTQ and women are being put above men, especially when it comes to a lot of things.
For a second, I think you've hit a very valid point here, because this is a personal piece. When the growth of the rainbow flag, it's a personal story. I love the rainbow flag. I have a shirt with the rainbow flag. I would go out in pride parades with the rainbow flag. Like, not parades, I'd be out there with them. I love the pride flag. I thought it was a great flag. I saw it as an inclusive flag. We're all together. But now they have the new LGBTQ plus flag, that flag with all the stuff in it. And to your point, I'm not in that flag.
Straight men. That's what I meant. Straight men.
Yeah, I'm not in that flag. Yeah. So I thought I was included in the rainbow flag. It was all of us together. I felt like I was part of it. I could be an ally is what I felt. I'm not gay, I'm straight, but I thought that I could be an ally to any of the community, the gay community, whatever, because that was a flag for all of us. But the new flag, whatever it's called, I don't know what the new flag is called, that flag, I feel like I'm not included. And when you go to groups like that and ask and talk, to your point, Charisse, they will tell you, no, it's not for you. They will tell me.
You're not prioritized.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's because it's exclusionary. Equity is exclusionary. It is about segregation, except it's in a very nice package that can be sold very easily and very well. And it is, and it's easy to indoctrinate, which it is in our colleges, in our high schools. And to get back to Roe v. Wade and women and this false messaging, again, we're watching the media. Look, they're fortifying the 2024 election. They fortified the 2020 election. They told us that already. Newsweek.
What do you mean when you say fortified? Explain fortified.
Okay. In 2020, a group of tech giants, individual billionaires, and some political organizations, including news media organizations, work together.
Do I gotta put my tinfoil hat on, or are we good?
No. This was reported by Newsweek. You can look it up for yourself. Newsweek,
right,
the fortification of 2020, and what they said is in their report about this, they were all working together to push the public towards one goal: to vote Democrat in that election. Again, this is from Newsweek. They wrote about this. It is their article. They came up and talked about the shadow cabal. And we're seeing that same thing now. And one of the easiest targets is, the right wants women to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. That is a lie, because that has never been what we hear from the right. It's also like the lie that we hear this week. What? Trump said bloodbath. Oh my God, he wants to start a civil war. No, don't take him out. It's because they're taking everyone out of context. You get 3 words out of a paragraph, if not an entire page, and they're pushing it on multiple platforms saying, see, you're just evil because MAGA, which means make America great. Gee, that is fundamentally a positive statement.
It means Nazi. Thank you. That's what it means.
Exactly.
You know that.
And
you know what it means Nazi.
They don't know what 6th grade English is anymore because they don't teach it. They teach believe whatever we say.
But Kathy's going to teach us to read in 3rd grade, Mike. By 3rd grade, we'll all be able to read. Kathy's going to teach us.
Kathy Hochul did say that. She did say she's finally going to teach. Actually, Eric Adams said he's finally going to teach phonics in school now. So that's a good thing, I guess.
What about ebonics, though?
No.
Phonics. Get it right.
AAVE, you mean African American Vernacular English?
That's exactly right. Say it right, Craig. AAVE is what it's called. Yes,
and that's not something that you learn. It's just something that you.
AAVE. Say it right, Craig. Come on now. Say it right. Say it right. Let me grab my audience for a second, if I could. Sure. If you are watching this and liking this, do me a favor, click that like button. It does matter. Every time you click the button of like, it gets me past the Al Gore rhythm. I need to get past that. So if you do it, if you click that button, I will get past it. If you don't, that means by default you hate me. That is how I'm taking it. So please click that button. It does matter. If you are watching this on Twitter, please retweet this now or repost it or re-exit, whatever is the thing. If you want to support the show, you can always super chat. You can super chat if you're watching on Larry Sharpe YouTube if you want to. You can even do the coolest thing of them all and become a member on YouTube if you want to. Click that join button, become a member. It's $49 per month. I can spend more time doing this and less time doing work. I don't want to do that. I want to do this instead. So you gotta put that out so I can put more and more stuff out. But no matter what you do, please follow these 3 very cool people who will give me a chunk of their evening, if you would. You can follow Michael on Rumble at no Soundbites Allowed. You can follow Charisse and you can follow Craig both on Twitter at Charisse J Lane and Craig on Diff Frequencies. Those links are all in the chat. I'm sorry, in the show descriptions. You can check them all out either way. So I want to go back to what we were talking about. If I can grab a couple of comments. I got some people commenting here. If I could grab a couple of them. Some a little bit off, but if I can grab this. The Lunatic Libertarian says, RFK Jr. and Cornel West are both clowns. Yeah. Well, they're clowns who are taking up about 10 to 20% of the polling. So those are some pretty popular, talented clowns. They may affect the election. I mean, I think shouldn't we be concerned about these clowns?
They're definitely going to affect the election. I mean, RFK by himself is polling somewhere between, depending on the poll, 10 to 15 on average. I'd say about 12.5%. It would make him the 2nd most popular 3rd party candidate pretty much ever, right behind Ross Perot. And potentially, if he gets a little momentum, he could be even the most popular 3rd party ever.
It's possible.
Very possible. And that could have a major impact on the final determination of who wins. But here's the thing. The only reason why they're popular is because everyone is dissatisfied with the establishment.
Yes.
And it's not that RFK has a winning solution. He doesn't. I've heard his party line, and I'm all for his voice being out there, but people are fed up with, okay, you can't hear him. When the second RFK said, I want to be competing with Joe Biden, the entire news media shut him down.
Yes, they did.
He said, I went to independent. They doubled down and put a news media blackout so hard that he had to put out the story of Aaron Rodgers being his VP to get them to even pay attention.
But it did work, though. That did work.
What, Aaron Rodgers? Yes.
Yes.
But it's sad that that's the process they have to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at them trying to throw Trump off the ballot and won't let the public write in a name, which is your fundamental right in America. This is
literally unconstitutional. You are correct.
And so we're seeing that people are fed up with that, which is why we're hearing individuals, which we should always heard from, the third parties, whether it be libertarian, independent, Green Party, not the Socialist
are the best,
Party.
by the way, just clear. They're the best.
Bottom. They're out of the question, but everyone else is fine.
But hold on. This is the thing that I think is amazing about Bobby Kennedy. For the first time in I don't know how long, people are talking about actual ballot access. Mm-hmm. And they never talked about before, right? Now, this is perfect timing because they're trying to throw Trump off the ballot. Now, clearly, I'm not going to vote for Trump. I'm a libertarian. However, Trump should be on the ballot. There is no doubt Trump should be on the ballot. No doubt. I mean, how can you not? The concept you wouldn't put him on the ballot is insane to me. Of course he's on the ballot, right? I mean, look, we live in New York. Me and you, Mike, we live in New York. And that's right. Craig, you're in New York too. Charisse, where are you?
Florida.
Florida. Okay. You're in a cooler state. You're in a cooler state. But our state is going blue no matter what we do. It doesn't matter what we vote for. Blue? I'm saying for the president's election, it's going to go blue, right? No matter what we do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no matter what. So yes. So Joe, by the way, teases us and says, a bunch of white people because none of us voted for Biden. So we don't get to be black anymore. We're all white now. That's it. But Joe, that's racist. They didn't say I become white. He simply said, if I don't vote for him, I ain't black.
No, it means you're not
have to be white.
That's just you're not human.
That's just Joe's privilege showing.
No. Yes, Joe Biden said, if I don't vote for him, I'm not black. So he didn't say I was white, though. He just said I wasn't black. I want to be Filipino.
Trump didn't say that, though. Trump didn't say that, though, but I'm getting questioned on ABC for what Trump said.
That's correct.
But he didn't say that I'm not black.
You know what?
Correct. He didn't.
You know, it's the part that, and Charisse, I don't think anyone's ever asked us this, and I would love any of the major media to actually address this. When he said, you're not black, it implies you're not human.
He said, get it right. Say it in African-American vernacular English. It's I ain't black.
You. Yes. He said you ain't black.
Yeah, whatever.
He said you ain't black.
Yes.
Yeah, but
that's old white man AAVE. Yeah. It's old white man AAVE.
Yeah.
That's how they
special.
That's what the old white man thinks is African-American vernacular English. Yeah.
Correct. But my point is they're using a tactic of if you do not fall in line with the establishment, left or right, then they dehumanize you. Then you don't exist. You are not relevant and you should be silenced and ostracized and put to the side. And that's why we're seeing people say RFK, why they're saying Cornel West, why and also why so many people are switching parties, mostly going from the left to the right, because almost everyone in America is actually somewhere closer to the center, damn well closer to the right than they are to the left. And that's why we're seeing this movement. And I think that's very important for people to understand.
Interesting point.
I think
a question. No, go ahead, Craig.
I was just going to say, so you mentioned, I just wanted to go back to the ballot access thing because you mentioned that. I think it has to do with what Mike is saying, which is people have realized that the left and the right do not stand for what they thought they stood for. They don't recognize it. They don't identify with it anymore. And this has come quick because with the ballot access thing with New York, I was always angry because it took forever to try to explain. People don't understand how you're supposed to get on the ballot, that the state can just kick you off the ballot, all of that stuff. So I expected it to be a 5-year battle to try to get the news out about this. But then lo and behold, next election, now they're trying to throw everybody off the ballot. And I think it's accelerating because they realize people are about to say, no, thank you. And so I do hold out hope that something is happening, that we're reaching some sort of an exponential curve, that we went so quickly from nobody understanding ballot access to everybody talking about it. I think it's the last gasps of the system trying to keep control. And it's got a lot of people asking questions. I just hope it's enough people asking questions.
Yes. Go ahead, Charisse, please go.
This is what I'm about to say is what I talked about on ABC. I think it's more so as well that people want to vote their values. They want to vote for the policies that they think will help their community, that will help their family. Me, for instance, why would I vote for somebody that's against school choice when I benefited from school choice? I had a scholarship, went to a private school, private Christian school, completely Black-owned, Black teachers, and it shielded me from a lot of stuff. Why would I vote for somebody that's against that? Why would I vote for somebody that's for drag queen story hour when I could potentially have children in the future and they'd be exposed to that? Absolutely not. Why would I, as a woman, stand for somebody that's for gun control? So it's just like people are waking up to the fact that.
But here's the piece
of their values. They need to vote their values and not just vote for people based off personality, based off race, based off popularity.
Yeah, but you're doing something very special here, right? And I mean this in a very good way. You're not doing what MSNBC does. And what MSNBC does is say, oh, I made it, so now I'm going to pull the ladder up. You guys don't get to make it. I make it. And now you can feel good because I represent you. So I'm going to be up here at MSNBC expressing how I represent you as Black America. And then I'll tell you what's right and wrong. And you can look at me and feel like you're doing something.
I did not elect Joy Reid. I did not elect Don Lemon. I did not elect Al Sharpton. And the only reason why anyone says they represent Black people is because, again, the same people who say equity is good said, hey, but we approved it. This is
no. I'm going to make you mad, but I'm going to tell you the truth here, Mike. It's because Republicans for decades have been terrible at outreach to the Black community.
Oh,
they have been terrible. Point. Thank you.
Both at the same time.
We got 2 against 1 this time, Mike. 2 against 1 this time.
They're scared of outreach, and then every time, especially when it comes to me, when I mention something dealing with Black people, I get pushback from them. They're saying I'm a Black supremacist. They're saying that you shouldn't be focused on race. When really, and I've discussed this with other people, when it comes to Black Americans, for me and for a lot of my other counterparts, saying I'm pro-Black, that's dealing with culture, not just color, because a lot of other different cultures get to say, for instance, I'm proud to be Jamaican, I'm proud to be Nigerian, I'm proud to be a Ghanaian. But if I say I'm proud to be Black, it's a problem, and I'm getting called racist by Republicans, and I'm just like, I have gone my whole life loving who I am as a Black woman, loving my culture. So why should I throw that away just because I'm Republican? So yes, they hate doing Black outreach. They look at Black culture as negative, and they are what's the word? They are falling into the lies of the media. Because they're portraying Black people to be a certain way when really that's not the majority of us, maybe 1 or 2% of Black people, but they're falling for the lies. Not just the left.
So the left puts out a terrible example of how to reach out to Black people, and the right puts out no example. And that is why they go to the left versus the right. But to be fair, I think your earlier point, Mike, the point you brought up earlier was the idea of the mainstream media failing. Now there are so many niche genres of media that's actually one of the best outreaches that Republican Party, the Conservative Party, that people on the right can make, they can make a better outreach to the Black community because they're using non-traditional media. And I think that is working.
Yes, and that's what this program does. That's what I've done. That's what each of us have done here, is because we have, hang on.
No, but the point I want to bring up right now is you just said, if you look at this show, and that's a part of my show I'm very happy about. If you look at my show, I'm a libertarian show in theory because I'm a blatant libertarian, obviously. But you look at my show, I have a lot of diversity on this show. a lot of people who are women, a lot of people who are people of color, a lot of people who are not libertarians, people who are Democrats, Republicans, everything, communists, they're all on the show, right? So I do a lot of outreach for everybody. So I do think that's true. So, Craig, I don't know. What do you see in this? What do you see?
So I see that we have a lot of opportunities, and I see that people jump on, they see something new and shiny, right? They're like, oh, right. I've been lost. I've realized my party's left me. I realized that it doesn't feel right. And then they find whatever it is. They find an alternative party. They find the libertarians, the Greens, independents. They find this new way of thinking, and they fall into the rabbit hole. And then ideologically, they get it. But taking the action and doing the thing is a whole nother ask, a whole nother step. And then getting involved and trying to espouse it themselves is a whole nother thing. So I do think a lot of people wake up, but I think we still have a long way to go as far as people actually having the courage to go out and vote for someone other than Joe Biden or other than Donald Trump, because their friends are going to blame them too, no matter what.
Yeah.
I still get blamed.
Go ahead.
I still get blamed for Donald Trump the first time around. People are like, you voted a third party. You voted a third party. It's your fault he's elected. It's like, no, I voted. Yes. I voted for none of this, actually.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Charisse, you have some fans. Instant Defense says, Charisse Lane, you look so good. You have a fan. Look at you. There we go.
I'm not feeling well at all, guys. But I'm like, I'm going to push through.
I appreciate it. We're happy to have you. Absolutely.
Picked out my hair. I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Mike is a fan too. Mike is always welcome. Absolutely. And now someone's messing with you, Craig. It's Dennis. He goes, from what year is Craig CRT? Cathode ray tube. What do you know what year that's from?
I'm gonna guess it's 1998 or 2000 or something like that.
There we go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dave says, the current political climate is definitely hurting the duopoly. People want something different. They look at Trump and Biden and think, is this the best we have? That's what they're looking at, RFK, etc. I think it's a combo. I think the timing is right for RFK to make some impact, for libertarians to make impact, Greens to make impact. The time is right. And the impact, I don't think will be victory. I mean, there is a chance, right? Everyone's talking about the idea of a contested election going into Congress. They're talking about that. So I think there is a chance of it, but I think the chance is very small. But I do think the odds of impact are very high. I think third parties are going to affect some of the outcomes of the states. Like, you're going to see that the state was affected by the combination of all the third parties. You are shaking your head no vigorously, Mike. What did I say wrong? Oh, go ahead, Charlie. Good.
I hope they do. That's all I have to say. I hope they do.
Me too.
We need some shaking. Again, I am a Republican, but we need something to shake. Okay, so I hope so.
I'm with you. I hope a bunch of swing states are literally affected by the independent candidates. Yes, I do hope so.
My concern, though, is that that's going to happen, and then we're going to see the backlash, right? Then we're going to see the ballot access is going to get tighter. All of a sudden, someone's a Russian colluder or something, and we have to watch. You laugh, but like that, they'll say, well, now on Facebook, if you're a third party candidate, it's been proven that this guy was a Russian asset. So now if you're a third party candidate, you're not allowed to run, and all of these. I'm not even joking. This happens. Like, this has already happened. You remember in your campaign, Larry, in 2018, Facebook killed it. You would get literally hundreds of thousands of likes on posts, and then Donald Trump won, and Trump had won before that, but the point is that all of the backlash from that hadn't hit yet when you were running the first time, and then Zuckerberg went to the Senate and he
removed it. He removed my page a week before Election Day. That's correct.
Did you get it back?
My entire page. Got it back, but it was down while I was doing my best to work it. So yes, I think there is some.
So then it got time to run again, and now Facebook's garbage because now they suppress all that stuff because they saw that it was making actual change. When you put stuff in front of people that they react to and that resonates with them, You can't have that. That's why we're going to ban TikTok. You can't have that stuff. You got to tell the people what to think.
Yes.
Michael, what do you have to say?
Oh, Michael's pissed off. Oh, go ahead.
Tell me, Mike, please explain to me why the TikTok ban is good and will never, ever, ever, ever become another Patriot Act, ever, possibly, at all, ever.
100% will. Oh, you're muted, Mike. We don't have a mic.
Mike.
All right, so while he's doing that, let me grab a super chat.
Do it in American Sign Language.
He says, I have a mix of liberal, conservative, libertarian, and populist views. Should a candidate with the same ideas run third party or indie, or co-op one of the two parties to try to do some good? And my answer to that as a general rule is no. And here are my two examples of that. One of the examples is actually Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was trying to make the Democratic Party an actual socialist party, not an actual socialist party, not just just neocons that talk like socialists. And he couldn't do it. In fact, they shunned him, they destroyed him, they pushed him away. Now he's a sellout. And if you go to the right side, you look at Justin Amash. Justin Amash started the Liberty Caucus, tried to make the Republican Party more libertarian. He couldn't do it. He actually left the Republican Party. I think it cannot be done. I wish it could be done. And I'll give you the best example I can, which is recently. I gave the Republican Party a chance to win in 2022. I went to them and I said, you could back me. I'll give you multiple lines in New York State. I'll win your primary, and we will have a chance at winning this state. And they went, yeah, but then we can't grift. And instead, they sued me off the ballot. Oh. So, yes, the Republican Party sued me off the ballot in New York State in 2022.
Okay. I got my audio back.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. You can now yell at us, Mike. Go yell at us now.
Now come back at me, Mike. Come back at me.
Last minute, I had to put up cameras. All my equipment's like off right now. I wasn't set. So anyway, going back to censorship, to talk about what you're saying, Craig, the censorship already exists. They have already been doing that. And as we were talking in some of the chat there, the cycle of censorship actually started increasing over the summer of 2023 and really kicked in with new laws and new regulations, YouTube, Google, in November of 2023. So what are they going to do that they haven't already done? Because they're already doing it. They're already censoring us, and they have been for years, but it's actually increased as we get into the election cycle. Let me additionally mention that we do need all voices, because I believe that the best leaders will be the ones that rise to the top, which is why we need this diversity, because the best voices, which I tend to believe are Republican and conservative voices, will rise to the top because they have the greatest consensus amongst the American people. We just have to remind people they're American, not something else / you're not a hyphen, you're an American. Let's deal with that first. And to go into TikTok, so let me really quickly address that. Yes, I am upset with the TikTok bill because it deals with websites, because it's expanded beyond, because we have seen the left consistently promise and demand that they want to have government-sponsored censorship, which is their injection into the bill, was having that ability to expand it beyond just this one Chinese company that actually does abuse American citizens and should have some restrictions on it. But yes, it is kind of like the Patriot Act, which I do not agree with because I don't believe in secret courts. But at the same time, we do have to recognize that, yeah, having a foreign nation abuse our information without our knowledge, without our ability to have any impact, is a negative and should be addressed. That doesn't mean we give carte blanche for the government to have censorship, but it does mean that they should be accountable for trying to protect us. If they won't do it by getting people out of Gaza, if they won't bring people back from Afghanistan or the Sudan or now in Haiti, at the very least, they can protect our online presence. So did I catch up to everybody now?
Yeah, you caught up. You're still wrong, but you caught up. It's fine. You caught up, though. You did. Go ahead, Charisse. Go ahead.
Okay, I agree with you. And I want to chime in. Wait, who's laughing?
Oh, good.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to chime in and say I think that a lot of information that the media doesn't want to get is being put out on TikTok. Like people are literally educating people on things that they don't know. And so I think they're using the China thing as an excuse, but I think it's more to it than just that. Like people are literally learning things that they haven't learned in school, that the media doesn't show them. They're learning it on TikTok. Yes, TikTok is. I kind of took a break from TikTok because there are some vicious people on there, but I like the educational side of TikTok and what they teach me, what they teach other people as well.
You know what's funny? You bring this up, and in many ways, I'm almost an absolutist on this. I'm not 100%. I'm almost an absolutist. I do not like the idea of the government banning almost anything. I mean, I'm not 100%, but I'm really close to an absolutist on this. And I don't like the idea they could ban TikTok. If TikTok is a bad company and the Chinese people are infiltrating, and if all those things are true, then why can't we just know that and decide to not watch it or not do it or get a better company or whatever, right? Why, if Facebook didn't suck as bad as it did, if YouTube wasn't throwing people off and cutting people off with no reason, if we didn't allow YouTube to buy Google, which literally they just made sure that the largest monopoly in the planet, the largest database, largest search engine in the world is Google, and the second one is YouTube. Right? They bought each other. They should be competing against each other, not working together. We've created a government-funded monopoly, and then we now want to ban TikTok. Well, I have an idea. Don't create government-funded monopolies, and you won't have to ban TikTok. Don't during an election, to your point, Mike, don't go during an election and then force people to not say things and not do things to support the establishment, and then people wouldn't want to run off to Rumble. Right? They wouldn't want to run off to Rumble right now. They'd be like, well, maybe YouTube's okay, or maybe your Rumble would be even stronger. Who the hell knows? There are so many market ways that this could be fixed. These are government-started problems, government-created problems, and now they're using government to use the force of government again to try to fix it, and it's just going to make it worse because I guarantee you, whatever happens, they will use this and they will attack American companies with it. They always do. Every single time they pass law to get the evil bad guy, whoever that person is, and they always use it on us every time. And I'm like, not this time. I don't want it.
Again, that goes back to Senator Richard Blumenthal out of Connecticut, who's getting support by the Socialist Party of America, getting awards and donations from them. And his speech to them, this is in 2020, when he was speaking to them, 2021. And his speech to them was about increasing government censorship over social media to silence the right. So,
yes.
And there's my problem. See, we're having the government institute that. And at the same time, people don't understand the nature of the problem. They don't understand. It's the same way that they bandy around the words misinformation, disinformation.
Yes.
Absolutely ill-defined. In fact, they redefine those words to match their agenda on a regular basis. And so people don't appreciate.
But the words are irrelevant. I don't give a shit what misinformation or malinformation. I don't care what it is. The government has no right to tell me what is any of those things. I don't care they can define it any way they want. They can define misinformation as anything Larry Sharpe says. Good. I don't really care. It does not matter.
I am fine with that, and I agree with you, but here's the point I'm making is they're using these ill-defined terms or redefined terms to create an environment where people are so confused, and at the same time, they have been so poorly taught to be able to do the research themselves. It was Sunday. I was doing a live stream. I do my Sunday live stream. And I take questions from the audience. And someone said, Mike, I think you're lying about when I said Joe Biden in the State of the Union, 3.2% inflation, lowest in the world. I said, that's a lie. That's factually incorrect. Oh, Mike, you just made that up. You're just a Republican. Fine. I was live on screen and I typed in and showed them the search that I did. It took literally 5 minutes. I had to do 2 searches. And I went through 3 articles because I went to the fact checkers first. It didn't exist. Then I went to just the stats and I found the stats themselves and showed, okay, here's the evidence from internationally credible sources. It says you're wrong. He lied.
Right.
But people don't know to do that. You know how many times I have people who say,
they just trust their talking head.
I don't think they don't. People know how to Google. People just don't want to. People don't.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay,
yeah,
better point.
People don't want to.
They don't.
People don't want to. They might learn something. They hate that. They don't want to learn something. No, I'm entirely.
They don't
serious.
want to learn they're wrong. They don't want to learn they're wrong.
Oh, that's a good point.
I agree. I agree because they might be right, but they're not going to try. They're not going to try to figure out whether they're right or wrong. And this brings me to you had a panel a few weeks ago, Larry. I don't remember the name of the guy, but he was a socialist and he was talking about. Well, he didn't bring it up.
Dan from the internet.
Okay, Dan from the internet.
Oh,
God.
God.
I'm about to talk about your listeners, Dan, which I know you don't like because Larry pointed out that they were all saying that lockdowns didn't happen.
Remember that.
And I am like, I don't know about that.
I remember them.
I kind of remember some, and then they said semantics, right? They said, well, they didn't lock you in the house. And I said, okay, okay. I still disagree. So I did what Mike did, and I went and I looked because I'm like, okay, maybe they didn't lock people in their houses, but what did they do? In my county, there was a guy, he was a teacher at a school, high school, and there was all of a sudden a COVID outbreak at this high school. And then the county sheriff and the county executive targeted this man, said, this is the man that did it. He's the one that spread it all over. He didn't follow the rules. He didn't contact trace. He didn't tell us where he went. He didn't all this stuff. He didn't quarantine. And okay, they didn't lock him in the house, but they're talking about all this in the paper, in the Utica paper. They're lambasting this guy. And none of this is scientifically proven. You don't know where that stuff came from because all those 130 people or whatever could have gone to Walmart and caught it. You don't know that this guy did it. Absolutely nothing. And the county executive even said in the story, he says, we're looking at what legal action we can take.
Wow.
So
how can we wreck this guy?
So they didn't lock him in his house. No, but they're ready to lock him in the county jail. So is that any better?
No, I'm with you. But I remember that they were all like, and he was teasing, he was like, Larry, that's not all. And I found like 5 more. There were like 6 people who all said, never happened, never happened, never happened.
And this is my point.
Afterwards, they were like, well, they didn't physically lock you in your house. Yeah, but you couldn't go anywhere. They shut down every store. They shut down every church. They shut down every park. So yes, could I walk outside? Yes, but I couldn't go anywhere. But I could walk outside my house. I think that's true. Unless you have a quick super chat if I could. Hold on. This is the Lunatic Libertarian. Thank you for the 1999. I appreciate it. Traitors to the gallows. He is not playing games. Take back our county sheriff's office and territory. Repeal everything back to the Constitution. Deal with rebuilding everything from the ground up. Stop participating. No system to ruin my life. Now, the point I like about this is he is talking about the county sheriffs and police forces. Police forces are voluntary. Sheriffs are mandatory. Police forces are voluntary. And if we could change the way we enforce things, I think it would change.
What do you
mean by that, Larry? If we went back to the Constitution, what I mean is, yes, sheriffs are elected. Police forces are not. Right? And that's the difference. And sheriffs do have a constitutional ability to defy the government. Cops do not. Right? Cops must follow the government. Cops must enforce the law. Cops are not elected. Sheriffs are elected. And a sheriff can say, I will not enforce a law. And that's constitutional because the sheriff is elected. So a sheriff can do that and often does not. But if we had more of that, I think it will be better. I'm not going to go with the gallows thing, lunatic libertarian. I'm not going there. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I'm not going there. You may be right, but I'm not going there. All I'm saying is I'm going to go with the sheriff part. I think that if we went back to the Constitution, while the Constitution is not perfect, it is a wonderful piece of government. And at the moment, I can't see a better one.
It's the best that's ever been created.
But I cannot see a better one, is all I'm saying. If we went back to that, we'd be in a much better situation for sure.
There's no other country like the United States.
Exactly.
We have our problems, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
I have lived in other places, and I know you have as well. Exactly.
Yes, I have.
And there's a lot of people who say they have a great piece of paper that sounds fantastic. The old Soviet Union's declaration, their constitution, looked wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Then they actualized it. And then you saw the difference. We are the only nation that has the freedoms from birth, and we actively support that. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. But there is no other nation in the history of mankind that is at the same pinnacle that we are, that has uplifted as many people as we have, taken them out of poverty, improved the quality of life, and improved the technology to stabilize the global society. No other nation has done that, only America. So when people want to tell me I hate America, oh, we need to change everything, get rid of the Constitution and go to the UN's human rights ideas, you know what? Show me another nation that's ready to take the place of America. There isn't one. If the light of freedom of America goes out, then the entire world falls into a chasm, because that's where the next level is. There is no one else to replace us.
This is the point I want to bring up that many people don't understand.
Sorry.
People tell me, no, it's good. People tell me all the time, I say things
Mike said, sorry, I'm being a Republican. I love my country.
I love my country. Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm not mad at you, of course. No, but the thing I want to bring up here is a lot of people say things like, well, Larry, all democracies are the same. Democracies don't warn each other. Let me tell you something people don't know. Nazi Germany was a democracy. Imperial Japan was a democracy. Fascist Italy was a democracy. They were democracies with bad ideas, with flawed democracies that created, remember, in Japan, Italy, and Germany, there was no military coup. Everyone was put into place without a coup. It was done through the system. They were all selected, right? Everybody who ran these countries was selected through the systems of their democracies and their constitutions. That is how Hitler came to power. That's how Mussolini came to power. That's how Tojo came to power. All of them through the system. So us having our piece of paper, that matters a lot. That matters a lot. Go ahead, Charisse. Go ahead.
I would say, concerning other countries and concerning America, the only thing I think that other countries have above us is, don't laugh, okay, when I say this, their food, because I've been hearing stories.
You're
of
not
people
wrong.
going to other
You're not
countries,
wrong.
and they've been all of this different stuff. It's off topic, but like they've been all of this different stuff when it comes to food. But America they're literally killing us.
So Craig's a farmer. Craig is a farmer. He will tell you. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah.
This is his world. He's a farmer. He'll tell you.
I'm gonna hop in here.
Yes, give us your point of view.
So, yeah, no, that's entirely the fault of the government. And you expected that answer because I'm a libertarian, but I'll explain why. It's the USDA, it's the FDA, it's the EPA, it's all these agencies that are supposed to be protecting us. We saw it with the COVID vaccine, with Operation Warp Speed. Take anything that you know that any government agency has ever done to rush something through, to ignore the rules that they're supposed to be using to keep us safe. Take that, where you've seen it in one instance, and apply it to every single instance of every single agency ever that's ever done anything in the United States. And that's why our food sucks, because people trust those agencies. They trust the USDA, they trust the EPA, they trust the FDA, they trust all these people that they're keeping us safe, that they have our best interests at heart.
Yep.
And they do not. They work for the corporations. Literally, they work for the corporations, and then they retire from the corporation, and now all of a sudden they're the director of the FCC or of the USDA or vice versa. And it's literally the same exact people making all of these exceptions to these rules that everybody else has to follow. So if you want to grow organic beets and you want to sell them to people because they help your gut and they make, urinary tract infection, all this stuff, you can't, because you didn't get the organic stamp, or you're not inspected. So if you sell too many of them, then, somebody's going to come around and say, nice beets you got there. Be a shame if someone threw them in the garbage, because they might give someone salmonella. So, and then you get GMO corn and you get all of these massive monocultures.
Let's talk about the dairy. I can't even do dairy anymore.
Yes.
I'm upset about it.
And do you know, do you know why that is? That's because, well, this is my suspicion. It's because of the homogenization. If you don't homogenize, right? If you don't homogenize the milk, then the fat cells are it works better with your body. I don't understand all of it.
No.
But yes,
raw milk works actually better for people who are lactose intolerant. Raw milk actually works better.
But I would say that these people only care about money, because even me,
last
fall, I was dealing with every day I was feeling like a sharp pain in my lower abdomen. I had a whole bunch of doctor's appointments. They could not figure out what it was. And so I said, I'm gonna stay off dairy for a month, see what happens. Pain went away instantly. So how do I figure that out? But you guys don't. You guys really don't care.
Well,
no, they don't. They want to prescribe you something. They want to give you a pill. They're like, whatever.
Well,
and if that doesn't work, they'll give you 2 more pills. And if that doesn't work, that's even better. It's literally the same thing as the government creating the problem, right? Without banning all of these things. And people say, well, I'm going to do this. Then they create another problem. Like I said, copy and paste. That's all. It's really easy to understand how the government messes up, because it's the same way every single time. And with everything.
Let's put in clarification or a caveat into what you're saying there.
I don't think you have to clarify. I'm willing to say this is forever and always.
No, actually, no, we have to, because what you're actually talking about is the establishment and the establishment power base, which is what people are rebelling about. That's what we're talking about here.
I didn't say people didn't like it.
I didn't say people didn't like it. There's a very big difference between what we see in the rank and file, and I see this in. I've been doing this 18 years, covered I don't know how many elections now at local, state, and federal levels. You've probably seen this as well, Larry. There is a massive difference between the rank and file voter
100%.
and their ideology and 100%. What we're seeing from the so-called leadership of each and every party. I don't care if they are third parties or mainstream. They're very different than what the rank and file people are talking about. And I think that disconnect is where we see the corruption get to seep in, which everyone is now trying to rebel against. And lunatic libertarian, false sense of security is what.
Hold on, I'll do the super chat. Super chat is false sense of security. Security is what blinds the uninformed. Conspiracies are real. I think it's a very valid point. And what he says is, okay, right? What he's saying is, to your point, Craig, we have an FDA. So now we're safe. But in reality, we're not. But it is a false sense of security. So they don't bother to get informed. They don't have to. They're blind now. Who cares? Because I have an FDA or I have a TSA. So now I'm safe.
You don't believe it, Mike?
A lot of people believe that. I think he's right. A lot of people buy this.
No, because you're taking the correct premise and you're extending it to an illogical outcome. You're going in the wrong direction with it. Let me explain.
Yes, please do.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you a stat. TSA. The TSA has committed more felonies than it has stopped.
Absolutely.
I'm not joking. That is literally a fact. They have committed more felonies, so we are actually physically less safe with the TSA than we were before the TSA.
That's not exactly true, but I understand the logic you're going on. So let's go through this, okay?
Because you're
mixing concepts. No, you're mixing concepts and you're taking them to an outcome that isn't necessarily correct.
Okay, let me do FDA. FDA.
Can I answer?
Hold on, I want to do FDA now.
We're going to get the same response.
Hold on. FDA now. The FDA, there is literally a secondary market next to the FDA, and that is natural stores and health food stores and natural food stores. The vast majority of those products are not checked by the FDA. They're third party, somehow checked third party. The healthiest people we know shop in those stores. Where are all the deaths from all the natural and health food stores? None. You can't find one of them. Now you look at the FDA. The FDA has slaughtered, maimed, and killed literally millions of Americans, and 80% of all addicts came from originally an FDA-approved opioid. The FDA is murdering, killing, and addicting people far more than anything else. Without the FDA, we'd have less dead people because you know why? We'd have cannabis products.
Okay, so you're mixing concepts and you're taking them to extremes that are not correct. Let me try and respond now.
Okay,
because you're giving me several things here. Okay, first of all, let's understand that a lot of the messaging that we are hearing from individuals, as an example, Kathy Hochul in New York, whether it's about guns or whether it's the subway, we're hearing them promise us safety, safety, safety. And I have a problem when we hear this from anyone. This is the argument of gun control. This is what we're talking about with the TSA. If you just comply, you will be safe. Now, there is a certain level where that could be somewhat true. On a low level, it's not going to make everyone safe. It's never going to hit the targets that they have promised us. We know this because we have seen for 50 years they have made the same promise and they have always failed at it. Gun control that is being offered by people like Representative Sheila Jackson Lee or Governor Kathy Hochul or the disgraced Governor Andrew Cuomo before him, guess what? They all failed. We are not seeing differences in those
I haven't heard you disagree yet, Mike.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
can you disagree?
I'm not
Where's
done
the disagree part?
Then you went on because that's correct, but then you mixed in. Now you're saying, well, because the TSA is having limited success in getting some of the lower level problems, some of the violations. I'm carrying a pen onto a plane and they got to take care of that. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. They're doing that because someone's terrified that they're going to get through a door with a pen and won't let the pilot have a gun or anyone else. Fine, whatever. But the higher level problems that you're alleging, that you're attaching to that, don't really exist in that manner. I'm trying to catch up. You gave me a lot of stuff, so please.
I did throw a lot at you. I did.
You did. Okay, so
I did.
I'm trying to cover all of this and try
Let me grab what Brian says. Brian says government agencies are full of experts, but the ATF experts, showing how dangerous guns are, couldn't remove the slide from a Glock for over a minute, recorded live.
That's true.
Yes.
And we've had experts like Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who says that an M16 weighs as much as five packing cartons and fires a 50 caliber round because she's a moron. She has no idea what she's talking about.
So I still haven't heard you disagree, Mike. Please tell me why these agencies are good, please.
Because, well, and if we allow them,
he said, "Well,
no, I'm trying to make sure I'm answering this because again, you guys are throwing a lot at me and I'm getting double teamed here. So, and that's fine.
We're listening.
We are.
That's fine.
I'm not double teaming now.
But the thing is,
me and Craig are double team. It's true. We are. We're purposely double teaming. Both libertarians we're throwing punches at them. We are. Both libertarians throwing punches at them. We are. It's true.
I am trying to absorb all of it and to respond to it. If we are blindly following if we're following these directives, then of course there will be the abuse. That's where the abuse comes in at.
Yes.
These organizations at the least level, now not all of them. I don't think we need the ATF. I don't agree with the Department of Education. We don't need any of those. I do think the FDA does serve a purpose. I do believe that when we watch the drug testing, that's FDA as well.
Hold on. But let me touch that piece, right? I actually don't mind the FDA existing. I don't. I'm okay with it existing. My problem is it's a monopoly. That is my problem. My problem isn't that we have security or safety. My problem is always that government has monopoly on security and or safety.
So then you're talking about establishment abuse. And that's where I'm trying to get to. You're talking about the abuse of the establishment being the only voice in there and telling people to comply. And that's where the problem is. If we have the competition, fantastic. If we restrict, well, here's the first part of that. Let's restrict, and this is, yes, it is a Republican idea. I think libertarians agree with it too. Restrict the size of the government, shrink the government, stop growing the government, stop adding new departments to the government. Let's restrict that and bring it down to a state, local level and let individuals have more voice on that. That's actually a very strong conservative Republican ideology. And that's what I'm trying to get to in this. Yes, this can work on a local level. Put it in the government's hands where it's now macro level and it doesn't pay attention to the little details and it's more susceptible to corruption. Then you have the problem. That's what I'm trying to explain there. But in the way that you guys were putting out your bullet points, you're blowing past that. You're just saying, okay, this could never possibly work. It's just always abusive.
It is
It's
libertarian.
not on a local level when we can pay attention to the details.
Grace is on your side. She literally says, on Team Vass here. Hurry up, Vass, and win this, please. So
I don't think he won. He just agreed with us.
I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to clarify.
I'm not trying to win either. I just tried to understand why he still didn't say that the agencies as they exist were good. And I didn't say that they couldn't be good. I said as they exist now, they are absolutely terrible and abusive, and they don't protect anybody. They are counter to their purpose.
That's where you see they don't protect anybody. I disagree. Some of these agencies do, and some of the things they do work. Again, they're more effective the more local that we make them, the smaller that we make them, the less politicians we have involved in there with laws that are 2,000 pages long that no one read, and we don't even know what they do. Yeah, there's a difference in terms of scale and application. The concept isn't necessarily bad. And there's where we hear Republican voices come in. We hear this from conservatives. We hear this from libertarians. If we shrink the government, if we stop wasting money, wasting personnel, the biggest increase in most of the government has been middle management passing paperwork back and forth. There's a problem.
Sorry, he's eating right now.
Mike has bad news. Is mad. He's like, I'm not okay with the FDA existing. He's hardcore than me. He's like, get rid of the FDA. Period.
Okay.
But I would ask a question. It's a serious question, and I go back to the idea of what if there was no FDA? You're saying the FDA does good things. What does it do well that a private organization couldn't do as well, if not better? What does it do well that 2 or 3 organizations couldn't do better? What does it do? I don't see anything that it does.
I'm not saying that they necessarily can't do that. I'm saying let's bring it to the local level. And you want the FDA in your state, make it a state FDA.
I think Mike
you're saying allow for a state FDA versus a national FDA.
Yeah.
I think Mike
That's
just
not
didn't
bad,
like.
Then we could have 50 FDAs, and then some states would be reciprocity. You'd go back and forth. They almost be like driver's licenses.
Some states would be better.
That's not bad.
Charisse,
I might take that. I mean, I don't want an FDA, but I might take that.
Charisse, back me up here. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yes. Even when it comes to Roe v. Wade, they didn't ban abortion nationally. They returned the rights back to the states and allowed the states to determine if abortion should be legal or not. So I see what you're saying.
I think Mike just got angry when we said it didn't help anybody. I think that's what it seems like. It seems like this whole discussion has been around that. So yes, it did help 3 people. I will concede that, and most of them owned drug companies. But
I don't believe in macro government or macro governmental styles because they are basically the same thing as the socialist ideas. They destroy the society and the fabric of society and the things that unify us. What we need is a unification of our purpose and our identity and our goals. And the more that we have that, as we have had that in the 70s, in the 50s, in the 30s, we've had that for most of the existence of the United States. And that's when we have prospered as a nation and as a world.
You're right. Well, the Lunatic Libertarian says, has Michael seen local school board meetings ignoring their constituents? I don't give local government that much credit. Well, let me defend that in a way if I could. There is a piece here. What most people don't know is most local governments now, because of federal funds, actually have very limited power because the federal government controls them because of the money they're giving. Example, I know in New York State, I think the federal government gives about $7 billion to New York State for education. So if you don't do what the federal government says, you don't get the money. And not just that, when it comes to many local school boards, again, I know New York State, they have basically unfunded mandates, which means the state says, you must do this, but we're going to give you no money. So now they have to do what the state says, or they're not in code, right? So they get fired. They have to do it. So they must do it, and there's no money left. So local school board meetings, they get yelled at all day long, but they have no actual power. The state and federal governments control them. We have to, this is to Mike's point, we have to make it to where it is local, where there aren't those state and federal strings. When those strings go away, now it does work. And that was actually my plan when I ran for governor. I was removing the strings. make an own. What my plan when I was running for governor was no federal funds. We just don't take them. And the state level, the money follows the kid. So wherever the kid is, you get the money. There's no strings attached. So now local school boards would have actual power. So I think you are correct, lunatic libertarian, but that's a systemic issue, if that makes any sense. And that's because of federal and state mandates. Charisse, go ahead, please.
You need to move.
I need to move. I know.
Florida's better. Move. Sorry, you all need to move. And people.
Charisse, I'm going to tell you why we can't move. I'm going to tell you why we shouldn't. The reason why we shouldn't is this is the front line. Me and Mike are both Marines, and we're sitting here fighting on the front line. What happens in New York comes to the rest of the country eventually. It just takes time. 1 year, 10 years, 20 years. It's coming to you. It's how it works.
I hope not. I want to.
In fact, you're in Florida. Half my population goes to you.
Yeah, you can't.
Can I get married first and have kids before all this start happening? Let it be in their generation.
No, you want to fix it now. Otherwise,
let it be in your kids' generation.
Fix it now because it only gets worse. Because states go from blue to purple, and then assuming they go from red to purple to blue, as people run from the blue states because everything has failed there, and then they come in. That's why we see New York, California leading 1 and number 2 of exodus of all the population. Yes. Because the Democratic progressive policies fail always, every single time, and they go to where there's success, which happens to be in red conservative states. And they screw them up with their old ideas because they still want the same free stuff and they still want the same government control and corrupt the entire nation in doing that. So you have to deal with it at the root to try and fix it. To answer lunatic libertarian about the school boards, I used to go, and when I was in the southern tier of New York, I would go to the school board meetings. I have made arguments about that. I, in fact, tried to change the national legislation, the statewide, New York state legislation on candidates for the school board, and then got blockaded because it was actually a massive lawsuit. Long story on that. But it's the school boards are fine if we hold them accountable, just like we should with every other politician. If we ask them the questions that are important, not will you do something, but will you do something that is effective, that is efficient, something that is actually going to be beneficial, regardless of whether the federal government says it. And this is the example why we don't need federal government. They don't know what's happening in the Bronx. Get them out. But yeah, these are standard.
I'm pulling you towards libertarian slowly, Mike. Every week, I'm pulling you a little bit closer.
Yeah, but it's not exclusively libertarian. Even conservatives, Republicans agree with this across this nation. The only thing that's stopping us is the fact that we have so much corruption and we built it up so big. I mean, who's the biggest employer in the United States?
Federal government.
Federal government. Why? Because people are pushing paper from one end to the other end, and everyone's terrified of, if we actually cut this down, what are those people going to do?
I might lose my jobs. Absolutely, I agree. Dennis has the right answer, though. He says we just need a department of afuera. We just need that. And for those who know what that is Javier Milei, who just gets rid of stuff. He just ends stuff. Yes.
Oh, God.
I think he's correct. He wants the DOA. What are we going to get rid of? And this is not a bad idea. I just wish it'll just never work, right? You'd have to have libertarians completely in charge.
Okay, statist.
My point is, what I mean is, if you didn't have libertarians in charge of the DOA, they wouldn't affair anything, right? You'd have to have libertarians in it to where they would go, yep, gone, yep, gone, yep, gone, yep, gone. And then they would make themselves disappear, right? That's the only way. Otherwise, they would just keep growing and keep growing. But I love the idea, though.
Charisse, do you see what I go through? I go through this a lot, especially when it's in person.
I go through a lot too when it comes to.
Oh, you should see it when me and Larry are in person. Oh my God, you should see this when we're in person.
I just want to say I don't think it's fair that all of this stuff is happening while I'm trying to transition into adulthood. Like I'm overwhelmed. I need a break. Oh my God.
Yes.
I haven't even started my family yet. This is not fair. I'm not married, so
you have plenty of time. You're young.
First?
But I'm looking at this too, right? I don't know, Charisse, I have a daughter who's 20. So my daughter is in the same boat, right? I got to get her through this too. I'm with you completely. Let me talk to the audience if I could for a second. If you're watching this, you like this, tell me it's fun. then click the like button. Why wouldn't you do that? Right? Click the like button. Do that if you could. If you're watching this on Twitter, please repost this, retweet this, re-X this, whatever it is. If you want to do a super chat that supports the show, please do so. It's awesome. If you're watching on Larry Sharpe YouTube, you can also become a member, which means your chat still goes to the front anyway. It's $29 per month. Love to have you on board if you want to. That's great. But no matter what you do, please follow these three people if you would. Please follow Mike on Rumble at No Soundbites Allowed. Please follow Charisse at Charisse J Lane on Twitter, and follow Craig, if you would, on Diff Frequencies also on Twitter. I would appreciate it. It does help us all very much if we could. I have another super chat. Let's see if I can get that right here. Lunatic Libertarian again. Has Mike? Oh no, wrong one. Hold on. I had one more. There it is. Wrong one. There it is. I bring up, like Larry said, funding comes with strings. I don't believe it can be fixed. CB vet here. We swore an oath. Yes, the brother CBs. Those who don't know, CBs are Navy sailors. They're the fighting CBs. They're basically the combat engineers of the sea, basically.
Yep,
they are.
Do a great job too.
100%. Yes, CBs are amazing. There's actually a John Wayne movie. Yes, the John Wayne movie called The Fighting CBs back in the 50s, was it? Something like that?
Late 60s, mid 60s.
And 60s, people are giving me trouble for my cathode ray television over here.
Hey, all of you are old. I'm just kidding. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, it's true. It's fine.
There's nothing wrong with being older. I'm getting called old, and I'm getting called old, and I'm only 24, about to be 25. I'm getting called old now. I'm not old.
Oh God, no, you're not old. You have my
if it'll bother you, you old. There's something to bother you. That's all. That's all. Just to bother you.
Long way to go before you have to worry about that. To answer the lunatic.
So let me ask. We got way off topic, but I kind of want to get back on it.
I'm trying.
We talked about a lot of stuff, but is this, to use the word that the Fed would like, is this transitory? Meaning, this change into the independent world, the push into away from the two major parties, legacy parties, is this just okay this year, then we're done and we're going back to the Democrats, Republicans? Or is there going to be some actual change in some ways? They're going to be like, is one party going to go away and be replaced? Is there going to be an actual third party? Will there be a lot of independence, whatever the case may be? What's going to happen?
The establishment is not going to let that happen.
Okay. Tell me what's going to happen, Charisse. Tell me.
I don't think they're gonna. Like I said, I don't think they're gonna let it happen.
You think it goes back to Democrats, Republicans next year?
So, as in, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just so polarized now. I just don't think that it's gonna happen. I wish.
See, and I go the other way because it's so polarizing, and because the internet does exist, and you can't turn Pandora's box. You can't close the box. So we're going to see it continue to be
Chinese
polarizing.
would disagree, Mike.
That's all right. And
I was gonna say, I don't know. I think you can do that, and we might do it soon.
I don't see it being. I don't see it as a negative if it's looked at healthily. It's good to have the different voices to compete against them, to let people hear all the options, to ask the critical questions, get their answer, and make a decision. Whatever it may be. I'll never tell anyone who they should vote for. I'll tell you why I think the other guys are wrong from my point of view, but you get to make your own choice. That's part of America, even when you make the wrong
I'm
choice.
telling you who to vote for. I'm telling you.
I understand that.
I'm right.
And that's fine. We've had fun with this one before. But here's the thing. The question isn't, will they exist? Because they already do. They already did. We already had Ross Perot as an independent. We've already had Ralph Nader as a third party of some significance. We've had the Rainbow Party, blah, blah, blah. They've always existed. The question isn't that. It's like saying do something. It's the wrong question. Will they be effective? That's the question. And going forward, will they be effective? Now, yes, Charisse is right. There are going to be caps on them, because we already see them out there right now, because anyone who challenges the establishment is in danger. That's why we see YouTube, Google, the mainstream news media having the censorship that they have right now in terms of the 2024 election. Yes, that's going to continue to move forward, but you will see more third-party voices speaking more loudly, and I think that's important. Because I think
but does that make it effective then, right? You're saying it's not effective, but you're saying that they're going to be. I feel like that makes them effective. Am I missing something?
Here's the effective part.
Okay.
I believe it's the effective part is that in having the more voices and having more people not dedicated to the establishment, although they may be dedicated to their principles, that brings us back to the core values of the Constitution. That brings us back to the core values of being a unified America, because we will realize in these different conversations, excluding the Socialist Party, everybody else will be able to find commonalities that we majority agree with and can live with, and they're going to be found in the Constitution that will reinforce America and reinvigorate America. I don't think that's pie in the sky. The more
that's pie in the sky. That's pretty
I don't know, Mike.
That's pretty pie in the sky.
You have way too much faith in institutions. You have
I have
way
more
too much
faith in. I'm talking about people, not institutions.
Yeah, but the people have to go.
Vehicle.
No. See, this is the other thing. The people have to go through the institutions, Mike.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. How are you going to make this change? How are you going to make this change when you have all of these people that are in the administrative state where we just change the guy that's in the front, and they literally did it to Trump? They said, whatever, Trump's going to be gone in 4 years. Or maybe 8, but either way, we're not going to listen to them. We're going to do whatever we want. And that happens every single time. And it happens on every single level. And they exclude the third parties. They don't let them on the ballot. I don't know. Hashtag walk away. You could make it happen. You could all go live on a homestead. You could all form your own little counties. You could all do all of these. You could organize at the local level. And you could tell the federal government and the state government, we're not doing it. And if you got enough people, you could do that. But if you're going to try to do it the other way, you got to go through the system. And I don't know. I think everything that you said is,
Craig.
I have an answer.
He says the politicians aren't necessarily the problem. It's the managerial class working in those agencies and to justify their jobs and put things in their resumes. I worked in a government agency. This is what you're talking about, Craig, is that, so the guy on top or the gal on top swaps. But the deep state or permanent Washington or whatever you want to call it, those people are still there, right? And they've been there 20, 30 years. And they've been grifting for years. And the biggest grifter of them all is who, the guy who I'll get canceled for saying, Mr. Jab guy himself, the F guy, Tony F. Chi, that guy, back in the COVID lockdown days. That guy who was
don't say his name, Larry. It's like
I won't say his name because I'll get canceled. I will. If I say his name 3 times, I got to take a jab. That's how that works. I don't want to say his name.
Yes.
Look in the chat.
F-A-U.
Look in the chat. Private chat.
I.
He had a lot to do with.
Thank you. Yes.
We say his name and the censors. It hits one of the
censors hammer you. So I don't want to say his name, but that guy. He was the most highly paid. He was the most highly paid government official in the entire country. He had been grifting for over 30 years. He was like 70 some odd years old when it started, and he was making over $500,000 a year. I'm not making that up. That guy doesn't care.
I think it was higher than that, Larry.
Yes, over 500 in the beginning. I don't know what happened at the end. By the time he actually retired, he was in the 70s when it started. He was making over 500 then, and then he went even higher. So
let's let Mike answer. He said he had an answer.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Charisse, I think Charisse, you had a comment about this, about the effectiveness and how do we make this change, which is what's Craig's argument at the moment. So I wanted to make sure you had a chance to answer that because you looks like you had something to say on it.
No.
Okay, then let me kick this in.
I love hearing the men talk about. I'm getting educated right now.
No problem. You'll love being around me. I talk a lot. It's true, and I look good. What the hell? Anyway,
this is cool.
So to answer your question about, oh my God, this will never happen. Yeah, well, it's real simple, and I got a great example of that. Joe Biden, Michigan. 101,000 votes. Let me explain what that means. Joe Biden, obviously, we have these insane people with the Democratic Socialists of America. Yes, if you're in the Democratic Socialists of America, you're insane. So they happen to love Hamas, a terrorist organization that killed 34 Americans, took 22 Americans hostage. These are all civilians without any warning, and they are torturing and sexually abusing them as we speak. These are all internationally verified facts. Period. And the Democratic Socialists of America, as well as Harvard University, are supporting that terrorism. What joyous people. But they do have
where's the 101,000 people? You just want to yell about Hamas.
Every
time we get on the show, you want to yell about Hamas every time, and you find a way to yell about Hamas. You did it again. Damn you. You always yell about Hamas.
I'm about to tie it together. You cut me right off at the
yell
kick
about
here.
Hamas again.
Well, yes, because in Michigan,
and here's the point.
Yes,
of course I did. I want the Americans back home. Yes, I did say it again. But here it is. In Michigan, the DSA wrote in uncommitted to make their position understood to Biden and to the rest of the Democratic Party. And they said that if you do not comply, if you do not fund Hamas, build them up here and help out the terrorists, we're going to restrict our votes. Well, guess what? If you looked at the actual numbers in the primary, Michigan being a swing state, Trump came in with 759,000 votes just for himself. Joe Biden came in with 632,000. 101,000 of the DSA votes voted uncommitted. They needed that 100,000 votes to be competitive. And right after that, the next couple of days after we saw this uncommitted vote come in, that is absolutely necessary for Biden to be competitive. We hear in the State of the Union that Joe Biden is going over to Hamas to build them up here. Oh, yay for terrorism. So, yes, we can actually affect this in small groups because you don't need to be the majority party. You don't need to be the majority faction in your party. You just have to have enough votes. This is what the libertarians are after anyway in the first place. You don't want to win because it's too tough. You'll take another half century to win outright. But yet, if you can take the 5% it takes to win the race, no, I'm saying if you get the 5% that actually decides the race, you have a seat at the table, and everyone's going to be talking to you. So yes, we can do this. I don't need anyone to say, Mike, I agree with you 100%. I just need 5% of the people to say they agree with me, and race is going to be decided by 2%, and then I'm in. So yes, Americans can do it.
Can I answer? Mike's example of a win was a loss. Like he just said, well, no,
I'm a realist.
No,
my
point. No, he literally said, look at all this great stuff. We affected change, but then the thing that we affected was we're wasting money building a port, and we're still going to get into World War III.
Well, no, we're not. Now you've taken me out of context.
I didn't say that you said
World War III, Craig. Don't get him on World War III. We'll be here for 6 hours. There's World War III with him.
No, it isn't World War III. That is hype. 3 regional simultaneous wars. Yes. And no, there is nothing beneficial about Hamas. There is nothing beneficial about what we are doing in Gaza right now. Get the Americans back home. Then let's have a conversation about anything else.
Though. I want to go back to this piece of why it's transient, right? And I'm going to go back to a lot of people are putting in the chat, and they're right. When Ross Perot did this, you mentioned Ross Perot. Ross Perot had a lot of money. He was a billionaire back in the day. Like, he had tons of money. He was buying, TV commercials. Libertarian says that he was buying 30-minute spots. Yeah. Right. Joe says he was on primetime TV when it mattered, right? Back when primetime TV was important. Right now it's not as important, but back then it was super important. Everybody was watching. There was no internet, right? We were all watching TV. That was a big deal, right? But even he went away. Like, once he was done, that's when the Commission on President's Debates came. That's when all the hardcore rules on ballot access came. They all came after Perot. So as soon as Perot was done, they hammered him. They hammered us all. Nader, as hard as Nader tried his damnedest, and Nader couldn't get on 40 states, whatever he got on. And since then, the only people ever to get on 50-state ballot access has been the Libertarian Party. And that's because we're crazy. And that's the only reason why. Like, we will sit out in the snow and do the crazy stuff to get it done. We're the only ones. No one else gets 50 states anymore.
You know what's different? In 1986, we had everyone that was on the internet, which was a very small group of people in colleges, were working off of MOOs. Most people don't even know what a MOO is. That's an MOO. And that was a format. That's before you had the AOLs and all of that. AOLs, Facebook, all of that. Yeah, it was called a MOO. And it was only between college to college. That's the problem. Ross Perot had an offer for the American people. He didn't have the access point that we have now. Yes, it costs hundreds of millions of dollars, but you can do this with tens of millions. And more importantly, if you're targeting individual states, then you can do it with thousands of dollars. We have seen candidates do that. Now, I say this from a conservative point of view, from a Republican point of view, to those who are black, the black conservatives out there, the Hispanic conservatives out there, the women that are out there that are more conservative and Republican minded, who are being told you have to hide, do not speak. Or if you're like at Binghamton University in 2019, you get attacked. 3 conservatives get attacked by 200 liberals because the college was okay with that. That doesn't mean go and hide. It means go out and speak up, because they don't realize there's more of us, conservatives, Republicans, out there than they are. The fringe is, in fact, the left, especially the further left you go.
I'm not sure that's true. I don't know if you
absolutely.
If you first off, straight Chillaxon says, pretty sure Al Gore invented the moose after he invented the cows. I think that's accurate. Al Gore first invented the internet, then he invented the moose. No, then he invented the cows, then he invented the moose. He did all in that row. That's what he did. In that order is what Al Gore did.
Go ahead.
And then Bill Gates bought it. And then Bill Gates bought out of the cows.
Yes.
Charisse agrees with
I agree with you. I mean, I'm a student at Florida A&M University, so HBCU in Tallahassee. And the people are scared, but I've had people DM me. I'm trying to start a college Republican. I'm trying to start, about republicanism and conservatism, and I'm trying to start up college Republicans. I'm trying to start it back up at FAMU. And
but I thought Trump was writing checks to HSB. What?
No, who said that?
I thought Trump was writing checks.
No, he tried to limit the federal government's restriction on Republicans and free speech in schools, and in fact told the colleges that if they restricted free speech, which was targeting Republicans and conservatives at the colleges, that they would not get their federal funding. That's in fact what he did say, in part because of the kind of riots at Binghamton University.
I'm not mistaken. Hold on. I'm pretty sure Trump put a bunch of money.
He did.
Into HBCUs.
Yes, he did. Sure people, a lot of HBCU representatives went to meet him.
That's what I thought. Okay. So why are they mad? The Republican president gave him the money. Why are they mad at Republicans for this?
I don't know. I was just talking about, I was agreeing with Michael when it comes to like,
no, you said that they're trying to stop you from bringing up the Republicans.
No. I didn't say that. I said that I plan on starting a college Republicans at FAMU. And I'm saying that I have some support. I have some support from some students.
I misunderstood you. Okay, that's why I was confused. I'm like, this should be an easy thing to start. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna have some pushback, but I actually did a poll on it's an app called Fizz. So you have to log in on Fizz with your college account, like with your college email.
Okay.
So, but you remain anonymous. So I did a poll. A lot of people said no concerning if they would be interested in joining, but then there were a lot of people that said they don't know, and then some people said yes. So I'm taking into account that they don't know, that I don't know.
Sure.
Taking that into account. I'm a little nervous because I've been trying to stay low key. And at school, I've been trying to stay low key in general, but it's just been hard. I mean, I was just on ABC, so at this point, I'm not low key. Everybody knows.
I like it.
A lot of people know.
So look, here's what I want to do.
Right on in.
I want to grab some more comments, but before I grab some more comments, I want you to tell people what you're doing, where they can find you, just before I go back to comments again.
Yes, because I'm
actually please.
I have class tomorrow morning, so I need to.
No, tell me. Tell people what are you doing? Where can they find you? What's going on? Tell me.
You can find me on Twitter at Charrise J Lane, Instagram at Charisse Lane, CharriseLane, TikTok at Charisse Lane, and my YouTube is the @ is real Charisse Lane, but if you just look up Charisse Lane, you'll see me on YouTube as well. I'm not really posting on there as much because I do I'm a full-time student and I work half-time, so I'm really busy, but hopefully I can get back into doing all of that. And I'm gonna leave now, you guys.
Bye. I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Love having you there.
Excellent. So, Vass, tell us what we're doing. What are you doing?
Every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a live stream. It usually goes at least 2.5 hours to as much as about 6 hours, except for my birthday when I do 12 at least. And it's just explaining all the issues. People like we're doing today, Greg will get in, type in a question and ask, or like the lunatic libertarian will ask me a question about one of the policies, and I'll explain the policy, the issues, and what I expect are the consequences. And I provide the links, the sources from internationally credible sources around the world saying, here's the evidence of why I get to this conclusion. Do you agree? You don't have to, but now you understand a point of view that CNN, MSNBC, they want to talk about it in 30 seconds, say, here's the headline, agree with us, obey, and don't ever think about it again. I don't agree with that.
Got it. Excellent. Craig, tell us what you're doing. Where can we find you?
I'm on different frequencies on Substack, so that's all you have to search, different frequencies. And I'm also on Twitter at diff frequencies. So I tweet, I write Substacks every once in a while, and I try to do some advocacy locally and statewide. And I sometimes I get down, but I think that we all have to keep talking. I think we all have to keep pushing, and it's easy to get jaded in this situation. But I think it's a healthy dose of both. It's understanding that you're up against a lot, but you can't stop, because if you stop, then nobody else is going to do it. So
there we go.
And you just hope that it keeps snowballing.
Well, we got to break through. We got to get to that breakthrough.
But Kenneth brings up an interesting question. And that is, he says, Michael, this is to you, with the way the D's and R's are working, they may side more with socialists than with libertarians and Constitution. And I see his point. And this goes back to what you said. I think it's a combination. The leadership versus the troops, right? If you look at it, the leadership of the Republican Party is basically neocons. The leadership of the Democratic Party is basically neocons. But the people are not that. The average Republican is not a neocon. The average Republican is also loves Trump when the establishment hates Trump. The average Democrat thinks that, people like AOC is awesome when people, and they hate people like Nancy Pelosi, but Nancy Pelosi runs the place. So I think there's a big difference. And his point is the leadership may shift them more towards the Socialist Party, more of a controlling group than with libertarians and Constitution Party, which is much more of a live and let live group. What do you think about that, Michael? Is he right?
No.
Why?
The reason why people join the Socialist Party, and to a similar extent, the Green Party, or they go down the route with Dr. Cornel West, is because they believe in Pollyanna. They believe in rainbows and unicorns, and they want free stuff.
Yeah, beautiful.
They have, in other words, they're buying into the lies. And these are the same lies that got them dedicated into, very much so, the establishment point of view. Here's the promise. Doesn't matter if you get that at the end of the day, you're going to always be there for that hook of eventually the promise might come true. I want to be there when we get the promise. And they'll just wait and they'll wait and they'll wait and they'll wait. And the biggest thing is that they're being made inactive while they wait. And this is what the Socialist Party is offering them.
Yeah, but see, hold on. I don't think his point is, though. You're missing his point, though. I think his point is, and maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong, I think his point, not that the individuals would, right? The individuals, of course, don't want to go down that road, or they might not believe it or what. Look, if Americans went in socialism, we'd all be socialist, right? So obviously, that's not what we all want.
Would we, though, Larry? Would we, if we wanted socialism, they'd make us capitalists.
No.
That's funny. But my point being that the leadership might begin to lean more towards that. And I think you see this example I'll give you. So many Republicans, once Trump became popular and powerful, either became, Lincoln Project guys or became Democrats.
Rhinos.
They left. The leadership was like, look, I'm here to grift. And Trump's not going to let me grift. So I got to go where the grifting's good, and the grifting's good better over here, or the grifting's good over here. And my worry is that he's right. My worry is the grifting in a Socialist Party is going to be way better than the grifting in a Libertarian Party, way better than the grifting in a Constitution Party. So why wouldn't they try to move their guys over with the lies you said? They've been lying for 20 years. They'll keep lying and move it right towards socialists.
You're talking establishment Democrats going to the Socialist Party?
No, I'm talking, well, mostly them, but yeah, it could be Republicans too in that scenario. But here's the thing: we have a name for those Republicans, and they're called rhinos. Right? Republicans in name only. These are individuals like the late Richard Hanna, individuals. Well, there's a lot of them. Mitch McConnell, you could say him as well.
100%.
These are the establishment Republicans, and they're there for the power. They're the ones making the promises that say, "Oh, we're going to cut the government," and now the national debt's up again. Okay. So I understand those people, and they're not going to switch parties. They're just going to adopt the same lie that the Socialist Party is going to say, that we're going to defund the police. We're going to defund.
So he's right.
And disband. But here's the thing: they aren't switching parties. They're just adopting the idea. They're adopting the sales tactic, the marketing.
That's what he means. He said side more with the socialists. That's what exactly you're okay.
That's not siding with them. That's not siding with them. It's just using the same tactics. It's the same sales pitch. But that's not. I think
what Mike is trying to get at is that they're being cynical. They're just taking advantage of the way the wind's blowing, and he's making a distinction between like they don't buy the bullshit, they just spread the bullshit.
Yes, that's another way of saying it. And
so he's being Dan, and he's being Dan from the internet and his people. He's doing that right now. Doing it from the right instead. That's what you're doing now. Come on. Agent Black says it's not about socialism, capitalism, or communism. It's about control. Well, there's I think he's right. The people at the top of all these ideologies don't believe in any of them. They just use whatever they get. If socialism will get me power, then I'm a socialist. If communism give me power, then I'm a communist. I'm whatever's going to give me power and grift. That's what I want. I think that's true. I think
we see that more often than not. Look at the people who've been there for 30, 40 years, 50 years, and look at the way they've changed. Hell, Joe Biden, Mr. Kamala Harris, this weekend she built her career on putting black people and poor people into jail for smoking weed, even when they were innocent, and keeping them in jail, even when they were innocent. That was 100%. Her career. And that's how she got the VP. And now that Joe Biden probably won't win, because every poll has been saying that for 9 months now she comes out and says, oh, by the way, no one should go to jail for smoking weed. This is what you've been doing, woman. What are you talking about? Okay. She doesn't care. She just wants that vote. And she is selling the candy, the rainbows and the sunshine to everyone trying to buy that vote. Oh, I'm going to eliminate the college debt. Oh, that's again trying to buy in those votes. But that's socialist.
He just triggered me, because I hope no, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad because I don't have the debt. I'm not mad for me. I'm mad for the kids, though, that they promised this the last time. Uncle Joe said, we're going to cancel your debt. He even talked about it, and he talked about it in the State of the Union address. But then he said, oh, it was those evil Republicans that did it. So you got to vote for me again. And I'm like, but aren't you the cool guy? This is what I hate. This is what I hate. This is why I'm triggered, is people give them a pass. Uncle Joe promised he was going to do something. Uncle Joe says, what are you going to do? It was the Republicans. They say, oh, well, I can't vote for Trump. Maybe he'll do it next. No, he will not do it next time. He will not do it next time. He will not
this part
do it next time.
Me nuts, right? Look, do I want these policies? No. But if we have a democracy and you vote for the policies, you should get the policies you vote for, whether I agree with them or not, right? People should be getting what they're voting for. Republicans should be about lower taxes. They should be about lower debt. They're not. They talk
Did you just scoff at the people should get what they're voting for?
They should, right? If you're voting for the thing, you should get the thing. And if it's screwed up, you voted for it. And if it's good, you voted for it.
Yeah, but
they
don't understand
at all.
You got to understand, you were never, they promised it to you. You were never going to get it. They're never going to defund the police.
I'm saying you should. Yes. But if I promise you, hey, Mike, if you vote for me, I'm gonna make sure that everyone gets a free marshmallow.
You said we could do it.
I should freaking hand out marshmallows. If I'm not handing out marshmallows, I'm a liar.
Okay.
Like you just said, we could do it.
Craig.
You just said we could do it. You said we could do it.
I love he's turning red. He's
said
losing
we
it
could
here.
do it. You said if we
Again,
go the right way, we can change it. And now you say no, we can't.
We can do it if we implement. Now you're looking at two different scenarios. Can't take me out of context. If we are elevating a smaller government that has less federal control, that is more state oriented and is more driven by the constituents and voters who are informed and actually active, then yes, we can do that. That doesn't exist. That's a potential future. You ask me today what is happening, what is the reality on the ground right now? None of that. We have a bunch of politicians who are not being held accountable, who make promises election after election. As an example, the college debt. When did we start hearing that? 2022 for the midterm elections, because Democrats were going to lose up until they brought that up, and also abortion. And then they stopped talking about it in December of 2022. They stopped talking about those things. They were off the table, and they didn't bring it back until January of 2024. Why? Because there's another election, and they need the votes, and the Republicans have to be demons.
This is my point, right? If they're going to say, "Hey, we're going to give a bunch of money away," again, I'm not saying I want them giving money away, but if I'm voting for you to give my money away, you should give my damn money away when you win the election.
And here's
otherwise, why am I voting for you?
Well, here's the other part. Here's the other part of this, and this is part of the sales pitch. So they're making the promise, knowing that if for the very small portion of the population at this moment, which is probably about 10% of each party, actually try to hold them accountable, well, it's unconstitutional, so they can't. So they got the out. See, the reason why didn't he actually go through on 2022 when he got the ability to actually have the college loans restricted? Because the president can't do that. He doesn't have that power. It's unconstitutional. So he said, "Oh, but it's because of Republicans. It's because of the Republican Supreme Court, and you've got to vote for me so I can get a new Supreme Court and actually do it."
You're missing a point.
What?
You happen to be correct on this one thing, but there's 45,000 things that they say exactly the same thing, whether you're correct or not, is my point. It doesn't matter if you happen to be correct. But the point is they just don't do it. And my point is they should do it. If I'm going to vote for the dude or the gal, and if she promises she's going to give everybody a marshmallow, when I vote her in, I want her to hand out goddamn marshmallows. Fantastic. Or I shouldn't have voted for you.
But yeah, you shouldn't have voted for her because he knew it was unconstitutional, and she's counting on the fact that you did not actually understand the law or the Constitution to know that
just wanted marshmallows for everybody. I just wanted marshmallows for everybody. I wasn't thinking.
Problem is the voter. You should know this and hold them accountable and not vote them in.
Let me ask, Mike. Please, let me ask you.
And then we got a super chat. I love the lunatic.
Okay.
You have faith in institutions, and you have
yes, you have
do.
No.
You have faith in the voting public. I want to know.
I don't.
So how are your let me rephrase what I'm saying then. Your scenarios that you offer show a lot of faith in the systems, and they show a lot of faith in the people. How do we get to these scenarios that you say are possible? How are we going to get there? Because you admit that we're not there. And I agree with you. I agree with you that we're not there. I am a little bit skeptical that we can get there. How can we get there?
Okay. I have faith in the American people when they are informed. Full stop. That is a very specific scenario. I don't have faith in the government system that we have at the moment, but I am more than willing to work with it because it's all we got. And until I can get something better, I'm going to make this the best I possibly can. So, Mark, you're funny, Danny. You're funny. So how do we get there? Well, we start informing the youth. This is a generational process. We can't turn it around tomorrow. It's not going to happen. We have too many people who are dependent on the system as it exists, and they don't want to change because it's easy to get free stuff, not realizing that you're paying for it in the back end. So you have to start with the next generation.
In more ways than one.
Well,
yes, exactly. Yes,
absolutely. But you start with the kids, and here's the first thing. How about we teach them cursive writing again so they can actually read the Constitution and not some professors reimagined, redefined wording of the Constitution, the actual words themselves, so that they can actually understand the real meanings.
Let me grab a super chat
from there.
49 super chat. Thank you, Super Libertarian. You are throwing the money at us today. Thank you so much. I'm glad we're entertaining you. I'm glad we're entertaining you. Current policies are just stacked on top of the other existing policies.
Yes.
Creating zero accountability citizens. Repeal policy, create accountability. And here was the policy that I had when I ran for governor. I said that every single New York state law, every one of them, no matter what it is, 6-year sunset law. Right. Every single law, 6-year sunset, no matter what the law is, everything. If they don't re-vote on that law within 6 years when it comes up, that law is gone. Reboot the entire thing. And you add on top of that, each law from now on must be a single issue bill. A single issue bill, no more omnibuses, no more budgets, nothing. A single issue bill. And when you revote, even if it was originally in a budget or omnibus, it must be a single issue bill, a single law vote each time, 6 years. You do that, you will watch gazillions of laws that are useless and don't matter go away. It's a brilliant idea because I'm super goddamn smart. Thank you, Lindsay.
You know what? Omnibus, great idea. I can, no omnibus, I have no problem with that. Why would I have a problem with that?
He's saying get rid of the omnibus.
Good. Okay, good.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I'm agreeing with you on that.
He was so prepared for you to trigger him again.
I was ready to fall out of my chair at that moment.
He's got PTSD. Mike's giving Larry PTSD this episode.
I'm not done yet because your 6-year law. No, throw that out the window. Sorry, no.
Why?
Because the government's going to use that as an excuse to bog itself down every 6. Because once
why is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? It's all going to be bogged
down just trying to keep in place everything they've already done.
Yes.
No.
That is not a bad thing.
100% yes.
No, you're not increasing efficiency.
You're
increasing corruption.
It was nothing but yes.
No, that's increasing corruption. What we need to do is
actually
audit. Can I answer?
How does it? Please tell me how it increases corruption.
I'm about to. Because all we have to do, first of all, is we actually go back and we audit. Let's get rid of the laws that are ineffective, inefficient, and also inapplicable. We still got the blue laws. People don't know what blue laws are. Blue laws are laws that are very, very archaic. Many times have never been actually enforced. That say something like, you can't buy alcohol on a Sunday, period, because it's a holy day. Now, a lot of states have that on the books. Never got it repealed.
Your plan would get rid of that.
Yeah, wouldn't a sunset law get rid of that without having to go out, without having to go and bog down the government to go and find all of these archaic laws?
No, it doesn't necessarily get rid of it. It does allow for me to filibuster by talking about that and trying to get that passed so I don't have to talk about another law that which is more important, and that we still have to get to. It is about the process. Let's actually audit the laws so we know what we do and do not have, what we are actually trying to hold these people accountable for, and we get rid of the things that are actually ineffective.
You're trying to kill me. You are literally trying to kill me.
I'm not trying to kill you. I'm trying to be as I want to have the most efficient and accountable government that we can possibly have. And I think that the closer we get to the Constitution, the better we get.
I want to tell you something. I cannot think of one. There may be one, but I cannot think of any law passed in New York State in the past 6 years that I think made us better. I'm not joking when I say that. I cannot think. There may be one, but top of my head, I cannot think of one in 6 years. So if the government got bogged down that not one law in the past 6 years was passed, we would not be worse off. We would be better off. None of the laws.
I know a lot of these laws. I studied the laws and bills.
So give us one that was good. Give us one that was good.
I can't think of one.
I can't.
Thank you.
I can't.
That's my point.
One. But
there's not one. So your bogged down thing, I'm like, yes.
No, my answer is
yes.
Then let's actually go through and actually audit. And I don't want to just get 6 years. Let's go through. They were useless laws. Get rid of them. Let's legislate them out.
The 6 years does that.
They're
gone in 6 years.
But I don't want to waste the time of having to do this every 6 years, where people will use the process that you're suggesting, and they will use it to bog down the system. They will use it to abuse the system. They will use it to try and because every time you have every time when you have a change in the political winds, that gives the opportunity for someone, say we go with, as an example, abortion, and we have late term abortion in New York State. And 6 years from now, somehow, miraculously, Democrats, Green Party, Libertarians, I don't know who it is, someone other than progressives actually take control of New York. They decide that they're going to filibuster so that no one ever gets to talk about Roe v. Wade or the late term abortion portion of that, and it goes away. Well, that's not fair. That's not actually legislating. That's not because the people wanted that change. That's just someone abusing their power to take advantage of the loophole.
Completely. Let's assume something. I'll go crazier. Murder. I'll go crazy. I'll go to murder. So now there's a law on the books for murder, obviously, right? So let's say it's 6 years, and now murder's coming up. Murder, the worst of all the laws, right? Murder, right? Comes up. And we're going to filibuster. We're going to filibuster so that it can't. And we do. And it goes past the 6 years, and now murder is not a law in New York State. Let's go that route. That far. I'm going far out on purpose.
Okay,
so
good.
Now
you got the extreme.
Someone gets arrested, right? For murder.
You can't.
And they go, I can't charge you with murder. No, you can arrest them. You can still arrest them.
Not for murder.
You arrest. Now you're going to charge them. You can arrest them because you arrest them.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Right? And now you got to start charging him. You got to say, okay, why did you arrest me? I'm going to charge you with blah, 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 blah. Well, now I can't charge you with murder because murder is no longer a law in New York State. First off, the second that happens, do you think that they're not immediately going to hold an emergency freaking assembly and say, we need to make sure murder is a law?
Maybe.
Number one. Number two, Number two, they won't be able to charge him with murder because it wasn't a law at the time. However, what will they charge him with? Whatever else he did, they'll charge him with assault or they'll charge him with manslaughter. They'll charge him with whatever they can for that individual guy. But then they would just fix it. The same thing with anything else. If they were that dumb and something fell through the cracks, which it could happen, it wouldn't bog anything down.
Well, okay, let's deal with
Not to mention you have the bully pulpit. So when you go and say this asshole went and filibustered on some stupid law about ice cream for 6 days so that abortion didn't get passed, you don't think every single person that is behind abortion wouldn't be slamming him all the time?
Absolutely.
And that the donors wouldn't be hitting him?
Maybe.
or any of this stuff?
Maybe. I don't know what's going on in that scenario. There's a lot of factors that
says arrest them for
affect people. But let's go with
assuming they say for example, Joe, that the guy was, I'm saying, stabbed to death. They stabbed the guy to death, right?
Yeah.
So I can't arrest him for murder, but I can still arrest him for assault. He still assaulted a guy. I can still arrest him for that. I can arrest him for manslaughter. I can arrest him for many reasons. Murder would not be a crime at that point, but there are other things I could arrest him for. I could arrest him for misuse of a tool or weapon or whatever rule. I mean, there's probably some law about that somewhere.
Illegal, unlawful detention.
Whatever I can find. Yeah, exactly. If he held him down while he stabbed him, I could for illegal detention. I could. Yes, of course, I could do that. There's ways I can find a way to charge him.
Yeah, there are ways. Yeah. But my problem with that is, one, now you've created an opportunity for crime, because God knows how many people, when they recognize that this is what's happened because of corruption or inaction, whichever one, they now have this opportunity. You've now created a window where, you could have a slew, not one,
baby.
You could have exactly. You could have 1,000. You could have 100,000 people committing murder because that's not a crime anymore. And you know what?
You could
having battery. Hang on. Battery is a much lesser crime that many people will say, I can get off. Okay, I got 5 to 7 on battery, but I'm not going to get life because of murder or the death penalty. And so now that's an incentive for some individuals to commit a crime. I don't want to have that scenario ever on as an option. I don't want that because I believe the corruption will have unintended consequences. I'm trying to minimize the unintended consequences.
Guys, we are running way over. I do want to wrap this up.
You're talking to me. You know how I get.
I know. I'm going way over. So I do want to wrap this up. Guys, if you're watching this, and you enjoyed this show, then do me a favor, click that like button. I know I bug you all the time. Please do it. Click the like button. It's really important. Share this if you can. And something more important, once this is over, once we are no longer live, I need you to come back on whenever you're watching it and put a comment on, right? The Al Gore rhythms do like it very much. So please, when we're done with this, go back to wherever you're watching on, whether you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and put a comment. It really does matter. They like when we do that. I want to say, guys, thank you so much for watching, all of the audience for doing it. I hope it was a good time. Craig, Mike, always good having you guys. Really appreciate it.
I loved it.
Thank you, sir.
I loved it.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. I will see you all